You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 190 of V. San Antonia's favorite, biggest, largest, and best podcast. I'm Jeremiah Morrell. Today I'm joined by producer Zach Burcham and co-host Dakota Davis.
Today's episode features Mr. Justin Kelly, who has been on the show a couple times before. The last time was episode number 145. You might recognize Justin from the Juice in the Morning podcast, maybe from his stint as a stand-up comedian, and also as the producer from the Highly Inappropriate Entertainment podcast, or just entertainment as a whole.
The network.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking to Justin about everything that he's doing in his life right now. We're going to be talking about President Trump being deplatformed and then impeached for the second time. Something historical has happened in the year 2021. We have some thoughts about it, so make sure you stick around to the end.
This is a show about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you, other times we'll make you laugh, but hopefully you will always learn something new.
Now, Justin has a hard out today of 7:30.
So we're running out of order today.
So I'm going to do the Patreon thank yous as fast as I possibly can. You can time me to see how good I am. Patreon.com/Boss Hog of Liberty. That's where you can go to sign up and support the show every month. And that is how we pay the bills around this place. You can sign up at less than $5 a month. Or, we always encourage more. The folks that contribute $50 or more a month, they get a shout out at the front of each and every episode. Those folks are Mr. Chris Lamb, Christy Avery, Jonathan Phillips from Andy Moore, Buick GMC, and Fishers. Make sure you tell them that the Boss Hog of Liberty sent you.
We all buy our cars there.
American hero Anthony Meyer. Anthony Meyer has a GoFundMe going on right now. Anthony is a truck driver who is keeping the country running in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, and he is trying to take his operation independent. We're going to put a link to Anthony Meyer's GoFundMe page in the Boss Hog of Liberty comment section on the live stream video. So if you're listening to the audio, make sure you head over to our page and click on that to donate. He is like I said, he's an American hero. We also have T-Chip stores. That is where you can get your Boss Hog of Liberty merchandise. tchip.com/BHOL1234 or mug.
You got it out.
Woo!
You got it out. Did you remember to take a breath?
I don't know. I could be, I want to be on on one of those lawyer commercials where it's like, you may be entitled to financial compensation.
Justin might remember it. You're not going to, Dakota, but there used to be the Micro Machines guy on Saturday mornings that would talk at 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Zach will definitely remember the guy.
I vaguely do, yeah.
Yeah. He was the world's fastest talker.
I think they sped it up in post, so.
That doesn't count for anything. I think are all auctioneers just out of work right now? Is there never going to be a market for fast talkers since all the auctions are dead?
I'm pretty sure Knightstown's still selling stuff Saturday mornings. I would imagine.
I was just thinking of like Earl's auction.
I lost an auction the other day on eBay, so
yeah.
What were you trying to get?
I have one of the North Face Denali jackets that I've had for like 5 years, and my wife is refusing to continue to patch it. The pockets are just threadbare and gone, and they don't make it anymore. So I found the one in my size in existence that I wanted. So I spent a week bidding on it, and I came to my price ceiling, and it wasn't enough.
Yeah,
I was
that's
on
the dedication right there.
Yes,
I was on gunbroker.com the other day, and there was I can't remember who makes it. It might be F&N or it might be Kimber. I don't remember. It's a bullpup 12-gauge shotgun. So it looks like I don't know if you've seen the Queen's Guard in England, but they carry bullpup style rifles. It's where the magazine is by the stock.
Yep. And
so I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And there's one day left in the auction, and it's at $270.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and it includes a 7-round magazine. So
does it include freight from England?
It was like $30 shipping, so it wasn't that bad. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. There's one day left. So I put in, the way gunbroker.com works is it automatically goes in $5 increments, but you put in your max bid beforehand.
Right.
And so then no one else knows what the current max is on the highest bid.
You're explaining
So-
eBay to us.
Okay.
Which is
well, I didn't know.
I mean, this is enthralling to me because I have never bid on anything ever.
Maybe, yeah. See, some people don't know.
All right, that's fine.
So I was like,
But some of us have been doing this since before you were born. But it's yeah.
this is
Please
like
continue.
This is like a $900 shotgun.
Right.
So I was like, okay, my bid is going to be $450. I'll pay up to half price.
Right.
And
Plus freight.
I'm like, this is
Tax,
awesome.
title, and license.
The time keeps going. I keep watching it all day. No one, I'm still the winning bidder. I'm like, this is actually going to happen. Like, I'm thinking I'm going to have to call VRA to make sure that they can get it shipped to them. And then I went to bed because it was late. And then I woke up to an email saying that I had been outbid at the very last minute. And I was upset. I went to see what the highest bid was. It's like $815. So it wasn't that. I didn't lose out on much. Yeah.
That's like losing your gambling bet when you go to bed and you wake up the next day and you're down $20 because you put it on somebody that you didn't think would be able to come out on time.
Well, see, I don't do that.
You still doing the sports betting?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a problem. You can look at your statistics and how much you've put into the app and how much you've won from FanDuel. And I'm negative like 200, but I've won a lot.
I'm up like 1,500.
That's
it's been excellent.
You need to send us some bets, man.
Yeah,
I was itching to put one in tonight and I just didn't do it.
My boy Sean Rao hooked me up with some hockey bets last night. Our defense attorney, the hockey expert, he said bet against my Blackhawks. They suck because there was a promo, $25 bet, and then a free $10 bet after that. He said take the points and bet and take the money line as well. So I did one way or the other.
Nice.
Took Tampa. They won 5-0. I was a $35 error.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I can't remember if it was FanDuel. One of the gambling sites had a $100 free bet for your first bet.
Oh my God!
And
DraftKings, I can get you $100 right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I was thinking like, or no. It was a bump to 100-1 odds. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, I should like text Jeremiah and be like, what is the most surefire bet to happen? And then be like, $1,000.
That's risky. I had a free $100 bet over the NFL weekend, and I was going to pick the running back for the Rams, and I said, and then Mason talked me out of it as we're watching the playoff game. He said, no, Robert Woods. Mm-hmm. 55
to score a touchdown.
55 minutes into the game, Robert Woods finally scored his touchdown. So my $190 bet brought me home $190.
Nice.
So I was very happy. That was a big one.
I would be really happy if I came out with $9,000 more than I put in. It's
really
crazy
easy to get sucked into the gambling stuff because, I take gambling as a point of pride because I don't like losing. I'm very competitive. So like we started doing a monthly poker night with me and my friends, and I've had to buy in twice, 2 different times, and nobody else has ever bought back in except for me because they're like, Justin, if you would just fold, you'd win, like you'd end up keeping money and you could win other hands. But I'm like, man, when somebody's going at me and I feel like I've got it, like I'm just going to keep going. And then I also take the risky play where I'm like, I'm waiting for that last card. Because I'm like, if I get that last card, then I'm going to win this for sure. And, I'm the person that they do the PSAs about when it comes to gambling, except for I haven't gotten to like the losing my house and losing like my whole life, that kind of thing. Because I have a wife that like stops me from gambling more.
So if it wasn't for her, there'd be zero self-control.
The bottom of my degeneracy this week, and we'll move on to talking about Justin. But I got so annoyed. There was apparently I did a little bit of gambling over the weekend in DraftKings, and they assign a mission. They gamify everything.
Yes.
So it was make at least 2 $5 parlays, which is where you pick 2 games or 3 games or whatever, and the odds have to reach a certain thing, plus 200. So $5 would turn into $10. $15 comes back to you. Whatever. So I didn't read the fine print the first time. I threw one in. It was Alabama and Green Bay to win. They both won, but then I didn't get my free bet because I screwed it up. All right, fine. So then I went ahead and made another one. Picked 5 college basketball teams, and it was like plus 207. Mm-hmm. And then one of the games got canceled because of COVID. So it dropped my number back below. And then I lost because I bet against Ball State, and Ball State had a comeback.
Oh, yeah.
So that was they had a surprise at Bowling Green. They won by like 20 points in the game they shouldn't have won. That's why I was noticing Ball State's score and posting about it on Facebook. So then when I realized that they'd canceled a game, I went ahead and said, okay, one more run at it. Mm-hmm. I went ahead, jumped in, bet on 4 teams. They had all won, but then I was up late worrying about Grambling State.
Oh my
and
God.
Grambling and whatever school that the late Steve McNair went to. God, I was looking at it at the time, and
Was
I
it
was
Marshall?
no. It was another Louisiana Southern school. But yeah, it was literally like nobody. It wasn't on any website. It was historically black colleges playing basketball in front of 42 people.
Yep, that was.
But I did win, and I won my money, so I was happy. I got it. It all worked out.
Yeah. That was my mid-pandemic. I was betting on Australian rules football that was being played at like 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah, the Korean baseball.
So, Justin, the last time you were on, we talked about a comedy show that was coming to Newcastle and let the OYO in, which I don't know if you noticed on your way in. There's no longer an OYO.
Alcorn State is my that was the school.
what is it
Alcorn
called now?
State. The OYO is the rain tree now.
Yeah,
It's back to the rain
being
tree.
rain tree.
But they kept one of the O's in the sign from the OYO. So it's this deformed. The legacy of the OYO is still going to be there.
I do want to
Always.
give you guys, a shout out for that because you guys came out and you brought a crowd, and then the crowd got way bigger than I ever expected for that event.
It was standing room only, man.
Yeah, it was a fantastic event.
We probably had 20, 25 people there in our little group.
Yeah, and I would say that was like the pinnacle of my stand-up comedy run, and I only had like a year into stand-up comedy. So it was a fantastic time, and I want to thank you guys again for doing that because that was amazing. It made me feel like I was a little bit successful, even if I wasn't the best stand-up comedian of all time.
You were very successful, and then a
funny.
pandemic happened and the world ended.
Yeah.
But
that
was great. That was the end of the run right there.
Exactly.
That was like a week before we crashed and burned.
Are you still doing stand-up then?
So I'm still writing. I'm not doing stand-up currently. With the pandemic, there was like almost a shutdown of almost all open mics. There were still a bunch of outdoor ones during the spring and summer. But for the most part, the ones that I would go to were shut down. And then also, just to be 100% straightforward with you and the listeners, I kind of started to realize that the stand-up comedy and the open mics throughout the week was putting myself at risk because I was drinking a lot at those things and then driving home. And then also, the wife going through being pregnant and all that stuff. Like it just started to put a really big strain on us. So then I told Jen, I was like, I'm not going to do anymore until we are comfortable with our new little one here long enough that, I can step out and do like an open mic on a Wednesday or a Friday or something like that. And,
That really doesn't happen for like 9 or 10 months.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, even like it's crazy how I know that we kind of talked about, the fact that a baby was coming or there was a lot of work that we were putting into to try to get this baby here the last time I was here. And now that she's here, it's like a life-changing moment that that stuff, like I'm not that worried about it. Like I love the writing and I'm still writing jokes and still like thinking about those, but I'm trying to push like other friends of mine into it.
A year and a half ago, your goal was I want to be famous, right? That was what you were saying on Juice.
Yep.
It was that was what you wanted to do.
Yep.
And now you want to be dad.
Yeah, I want to be, I love being a dad. I mean, my baby Elliot is fantastic. She's a giant baby. She was 9 pounds, 16 ounces when she was born.
Isn't that 10 pounds?
Yeah, pretty much. 9 pounds, 15 ounces then? It was close. Sorry. I was off on the numbers.
I normally work in
weights and measures.
Yeah, well, yeah, but not in ounces. I normally work in pounds and tons. So I was like, I think.
But like I said, she's fantastic. She's just growing so fast. It's like, it's all the cliches. Like the cliches are cliches because
they're real.
Because they're real.
Yeah.
They have you literally get home and you're like, man, it feels like you grew today. Like you look different today than you did when I left this morning. So, that was, the comedy's kind of just on a hold. Like, stand-up comedy, I'm not that motivated to get up on stage. I'm really more trying to write and help maybe other people that are interested in getting on stage and like maybe trying to push them to do it. There's a couple of things. There's something that's really cool. They're doing a challenge open mic now where you get a subject and then you're supposed to go up for 3 to 5 minutes and riff on that subject, which I would be willing, I think, to go do just because
3 to 5 minutes.
I think that would help even podcasting and just like your comedic timing.
Extemporaneous speaking, but you're expected to be funny.
Right. And then if you get voted as the best, then you get like I think a 7 to 10 minute feature as the closer of that event, the next event. So that's something that I'm interested in. I'm trying to push the guys from Highly Inappropriate to do it because both of them have mentioned doing stand-up comedy, and I think both of them could do it because they're funny in person.
Yeah.
So are they going to give you a topic?
Yeah,
And
like,
you're just
so
gonna
you pull
draw
it out of a hat,
Yeah.
and then you have to go on that topic.
And here we are on weather.
Exactly.
Speaking of those guys, Matt Wharton, who is one of the Highly Inappropriate guys, he came on. It was episode number 128. We're at 190 now,
Yeah.
so it's been a while. But whenever he was on, this was before the days of HI Entertainment. You jumped over there. You're still doing the Juice in the Morning podcast, but you jumped over to the producer's chair on the Highly Inappropriate show. Why go from hosting your own show to doing what Zach does?
Right.
Zach is the ultimate utility player, and I don't think we appreciate him enough.
The main thing
Giving
was
me a lot more credit than I'm due over here.
the main thing was Juice of the Morning was super fun. I had a bunch of different co-hosts, a bunch of different guests that was a lot of fun to have. I actually thought that I was going to completely end it, and then I ended it. And then there was like 2 weeks went by, and I was like, man, I really want to get back on there and talk. So I like the host aspect, and kind of what Juice in the Morning is transitioning to is more of a hobby type thing. So it's going to be like, for example, I just posted Netflix is coming out with 70 movies in 2021. My plan is they're supposed to release at least one a week for the entire year. So my plan is to watch every one once a week.
Every horrible movie.
Yes, and I will do the due diligence for the listeners and the people that pay attention to tell you whether or not I think something's worth watching.
9 of them are probably Adam Sandler movies.
Well, yes, exactly. But they did on their preview. They did have one with why can't I think of his name right now? He's like Leonardo DiCaprio was like the last one. So
I think they're going to be pretty hit and
then-
miss, but I think over half of them will be good.
Then the Outside the Wire this week I think is going to be good too with Anthony Mackie, I believe is his name, from the Avengers movies.
A lot of movies are coming straight to streaming because theaters have been closed. So I know I watched the Sacha Baron Cohen
Borat 2?
No. Well, that too.
Borat 2 is
No,
awesome.
on Netflix is the Chicago 7.
Oh, okay.
It's a trial procedural. It's an Aaron Sorkin movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you watch the Social Network and
But the other reason too that I wanted to get into something with somebody else with Highly Inappropriate was, no offense to anybody that's ever been a part of Juice in the Morning,
he's talking about us.
but I'm going to say that there was a lot of passion in the beginning, like right when they join, and then it kind of like peters out, and then it's kind of like
he's not talking about us.
no, it's kind of like
Episode 190, bitches.
it's kind of like they lose that passion for it, or other stuff comes up in life and that kind of thing. So I understand that, but I wanted to be on a team that is really motivated and wants to grow something and make it bigger than what it is. And I feel like I have a lot of outside skills from running my own show that I can bring to them, like with editing, putting together videos, putting together memes, just like using Photoshop. Like I'm very rudimentary with
Yeah, I've noticed
Photoshop.
how much more their page has like
The activity.
You are the king of social media. You are the
I try
king.
to be.
You do encourage interaction.
Yeah.
I told my broken leg story. I don't know if it's going to come up in your big contest or
That's this
not.
show, yeah?
Yeah, that's tonight. So you got to let me know if I won.
I will definitely
I
do
need to
that.
slip you $10. Because I think there's a prize. I can
Yep.
buy my way into winning.
Yeah,
I would hope.
exactly.
Even if you're not a
It's a
podcast,
$25 prize.
Yeah,
so,
$10 for me.
Now-
Everybody, yeah.
Are you guys on Parlor yet?
So Matt is actually, so that's the other thing that I wanted to throw in there because I love Highly Inappropriate. I love Matt. I love Chris. I love everybody that's part of it. Beaver, all those guys are great. But I do want to say if there's ever controversial subjects, their ideas do not necessarily represent my own. So I'm going to say that because I do agree with them on a lot of stuff. But no, for the Parlor thing, Matt was actually like, he was like, it's a new medium. We need to try to be on it because Matt has, like I said, Matt is an extremely driven individual, and I'm very proud to be a part of their show because we literally sat down and did like an hour-long meeting on Zoom where we mapped out this year and how we're going to do it. And Parlor was one of those mediums, but now, lo and behold, it's gone. So, I mean, it's still there. You can access it from your what?
No,
Your-
it's
your
gone
home
completely.
computer. You can't even get on it there.
It was taken out of the App Store, I think, on Friday.
Yep.
So Google and Apple both removed it. And then Sunday night, Amazon Web Services said we are no longer supporting Parler. So if
That's
you
right.
go, if you try to go to the
you
website,
pull
it's
up
gone.
DuckDuckGo and you look up parlor.com, then it says web page not available.
Wow.
I sideloaded the app in my phone.
It'll show up in your search results. It'll say Parler, the free speech social network, and the address is parler.com.
Blank.
Does that? I mean, I know this is like off the subject of what we were talking about, but
it's getting ready to be the subject.
Does that worry you guys at all with that kind of censorship, like that something can be completely removed? We're going to talk about it on Highly Inappropriate too today. It's like it's a hot topic.
Here's one thing. I'm not necessarily worried about it. I'm not sure that our show is big enough.
Right.
We get what?
We don't violate the terms of service. We're okay.
Right. And as of now, but I know Chris Spangle, who runs the We Are Libertarians network that we are a part of, he is worried about it. Mm-hmm. And he has spent a lot of time, a lot of effort and energy and money into making sure that if that day comes, he's prepared for it, which is like
lots of ammo,
making sure that
folks have signed up through email, things that you control. Yeah. You're not necessarily dependent
subscriber
upon
list,
Facebook.
Making sure that things are put directly on his website, making sure that there's multiple different domain names for the website. Basically just a bunch of different avenues that people can get the content if he is ever shut down on social media, which it could happen. But also our good friend Steve Horwitz, who's been on the show before, had a really good post the other day saying like, there's been a lot of people removed from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, what have you. And it seems like I haven't been shown anything that says this person was kicked off of Twitter just because they put Trump 2020, right? Like it's because they have all gone against the terms of service. Now, say what you will, those terms of service, they might not be applied equally across the board.
Right. But Highly Inappropriate was banned from Facebook twice. So
if you have an issue and you got mad, and this is what I put out there a few days ago when it was hot. If you're mad at Facebook, you're mad at Google, you're mad at Twitter, you're mad at Apple, sell the stock, right? Get rid of the app, don't use it, sell the stock, boycott them. Deal with it through the market. Send a market signal. I think that Parler has a very real case against Amazon Web Services for them saying the hell with you and we're getting rid of hosting your website. But that's a private matter between Amazon and Parler.
Right.
And Parler's attorneys, they have a contract. I work in this every day. I sell material to contractors. So I have a multiple page contract that says, hey, if this happens, this is how we deal with it. This happens, this is how we deal with it. There's a contract which gives them a roadmap to settle disputes. And they can end up in arbitration. One side generally doesn't have the ability to just say to hell with it, I'm not providing a service. So most likely Parler, unless they truly were in violation of the contract because they were allowing activities that Amazon had said cannot be hosted there.
Which is very possible from some of the stuff I've seen from there.
Parler.
Yeah, but Parler is just a host.
Right.
Parler is
They're not responsible for the users.
Correct.
Potentially. And if Amazon doesn't have in their contract language with Parler that you're responsible for moderating and editorializing everybody that's on your platform, then Parler has a very legitimate case and has cause to sue Amazon and to get compensation, to get reinstated or to get financial compensation.
The thing that I have the most worry for is not even the whole legal ramifications and things like that. It's more the social ramifications, the fact that so many people can get pissed off about something that they can kind of push the narrative to get people deplatformed or fired or just like gotten rid of. And I think that's the reason that I think that's dangerous is the fact that when you argue with people, for radio and internet, it sells because it's funny or people like to watch it, that kind of thing.
Nuance doesn't get clicks,
people do enjoy the discourse, but then at the same time, if you're getting rid of people's voices that you disagree with, then that makes the content in the world less, I guess, consumable in my opinion. Because if everybody agrees with everybody, then what's there to pay attention to? Like, what do you enjoy?
And there was a study that came out, I think it was actually like a year and a half ago. So, I mean, I'm sure it's even more so now, but it was talking about conservatives voicing their opinions in the workplace. So this actually focused on Republicans, not conservative as a blanket statement, but it was over half. I believe it was 60-something%, but I would just say over half of Republicans said that they were afraid to voice their opinions in the workplace for fear of being
terminated.
Of disciplinary action.
Okay.
Yeah. But when it came to Democrats, it was something like 18%.
Depends upon what kind of Republican ideas you have.
You just have to. I mean,
if you had Republican ideas about last Wednesday,
right?
That's called inciting a riot, and you probably
Like I
shouldn't be
said,
working
this
there.
was a year and a half ago. So maybe you're a Republican that happens to be very religious, and you don't agree with gay marriage.
Oh,
should you get fired because of that?
I bet it depends on your employer too, in terms of like I bet in some rural areas there's a guy who probably has Democratic ideas, and he's not going to bring those up to his employer because
if his employer
he's one of
is
10,
a small business. But if you work for a large corporation, then your conservative views aren't going to be tolerated very well.
Your company doesn't have to give a damn about your views. You're there to produce for that company and do your job.
I've got two things for this. Number one, company-wide, we got an email sent to us because we have TVs in our lobbies so that people have entertainment while they're waiting for their service. It was a company-wide email sent out that said to turn off the TV or turn it to a channel that is not showing the Capitol, the stuff at the Capitol, and then also the debates about the impeachment thing going on. I think it was a couple days ago.
So you just got House Hunters on now or something?
Yeah. Or Friends.
Cooking
I turn it to
shows.
Friends because I enjoy Friends if I'm working in the front office. But no, so that's one thing that I thought was interesting that I thought you guys might be able to like dive into. And then the second thing is at work, I feel like I do my best to not ever get into those conversations. There's no point for it. And every now and then we'll start to kind of creep into them. And it's kind of more like, all of them are stupid. So then I just like kind of move on and like do my own thing.
Yeah, I generally try to change the subject as soon as possible, or I know my coworkers, and I'll change it to a subject that I know for 100% fact we agree on.
Yeah,
people know me from this podcast, so it comes back to politics.
Right.
If I don't want to talk about it, they drag me back into it and ask my opinion.
So then, I mean, Jeremiah's got to be, preparing himself almost like a stand-up comedian, where every time somebody's like, tell me a joke, they're always probably coming at you about your beliefs and like the things that you think about.
I'm doing show prep all week, just talking to people.
That's impressive.
It's just constant.
It's got to be a little bit of stress.
This week, Sarah was my wife, my lovely wife, the wonderful Sarah Potter Morrell, was about tired of watching the news because I was like, no, this is like we're impeaching the president this week. I kind of have to do my homework. It's gonna come up.
But yeah, I mean, we've got just a little bit of time. I just wanted to, I know you guys are going to do a whole show, but just once again, I just want to shout out those guys with Highly Inappropriate. Shout out you guys for letting me come on. I know it's a brief little time. I would love to sit and talk to you guys because I feel like I learn something every time I'm on this podcast. And you guys have a beautiful studio. So like I said, shout out to Highly Inappropriate. Follow them. They're on. I'm telling them they're going to have to start pushing their time because the Boss Hog of Liberty is the most popular East Central Indiana podcast. But no, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, they can claim Donut County. They're Shelby County, right?
Exactly.
So they can claim the number one Donut County podcast.
There you
go. We can find a place.
No, like I said, I appreciate
it takes
you guys.
all kinds of kinds.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Another thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing the Polar Plunge. So there's going to be a link out there that you
Where's
can
that
at?
Do you need my swimming pool?
We're going to do the one in Greenwood because it's the most central, I guess, for everybody.
That's too far for me.
Yeah. But we got to get to, I think, $375 per team. So we're just kind of saying if you want to donate, go ahead. And if you can't donate or you don't have the money, because I know the pandemic's been hard on everybody, just share it so that other people can see the link. And if they do have the means to be able to do it, then they'll be able to jump on there. It's going to be good. We're going to make some good content. I've got a video camera now, or I've got a DSLR camera, kind of like what you guys have over there. And I'm going to make some video of it. I don't know what we're going to wear, but it's going to be interesting.
Speedos.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's supposed
body
to be
paint.
It's going to be Speedos, but I'm just thinking how cold it is. Like I told the rest of
going to be shrinkage.
I told the rest of the podcast I'm stuffing at least 2 gym socks in there just to make sure that
whenever you leave here or right now, I want you to look up Luke Stoltman on Instagram, and he's a competitor in World's Strongest Man, and he lives somewhere in an Eastern European country. And he's constantly posting pictures and videos of him swimming in the frozen lake outside of his house. So you can do it.
We'll pull that up.
There's some insane photos of guys that get in, underneath the ice, the frozen lake,
the Iceman,
and they'll have 2
It's
holes,
supposed to be
and
good
they'll
for
swing
you, too.
They'll swim from one to the other.
Wim Hof, the Wim Hof.
I'm sad that I'm going to miss
Nutty.
the pickle pizza too.
There is a very pungent odor.
Wait, open it up and look at it.
I will.
Just take a look at it.
There is a pungent odor with
it
that.
smells so strong.
Zach came in and he was complaining about the pickle smell, and I'm like, "What pickle smell?" And then I finally got it. I'm like, "Oh yeah."
You sit there, it feels like you stuck your nose in the pickle jar, like you're like taking a whiff of it.
But once again, thanks guys seriously for having me on.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Hopefully we can repay the favor and hang out with you.
We'll do a real show soon to where I can stay with you guys the whole time because, like I said, I'm excited about all these topics. So I'm going to look forward to listening to the show tomorrow.
Live stream it from the car.
Yep. See you guys.
We love you. Enjoy. Zach, if you want to swing back over, you can jump on the show. We will permit it. You just have to speak at
make sure you sit in this chair though.
What?
Make sure you sit in
do
this
a
chair.
flying lead change and have you jump in.
I'm missing that. See you guys.
All right, so let's talk about this deplatforming thing for a second.
We talked about basically Parler and all that stuff. Generally, we think it's a bad move.
Yeah. Well, I said that people need to vote with their wallets, and if they're really mad, then go somewhere else, do something else, deal with it differently. And I did a little check-in today. Facebook and Twitter have lost $51 billion in their value in the last week.
Good. Actually, that's not good.
Facebook, you own. Yeah, I own some of each.
Yeah. I own Twitter. I don't own Google.
I own them in my instant mutual funds. Facebook is down 8% on the year. Twitter's down 12% on the year.
You in on them ATFs or ETFs?
Oh yeah, I got an ETF. Got an ETF. I got the mutual funds. Got them all. So Facebook has lost $47.6 billion this week.
Wow.
47.6 billion. Twitter's lost $3.5 billion, which also would suck. But Facebook has literally lost more in their value than Twitter is worth at all.
Because Facebook.
So Twitter threw Trump off. They were the ones that started it, and then the entire value of Twitter got erased off of Facebook's value.
What kind of happened was Twitter said we're going to be suspending because Trump is so active on Twitter. It's really the only page he's active on. Basically, he has staffers that control his Facebook page. But if you want unadulterated Donald Trump, then you went to Twitter.
Yes, you used to. He was the one person that it notified me whenever he tweeted. It was always my not a push notification, but it would alert me.
So what happened?
I could go back and just see Trump's tweets
on the 6th was whenever the insurrection happened at the Capitol. Trump made a few tweets talking about it, where he's like, support the Capitol Police or whatever, and then he made that video where he was like, "We love you, go home peacefully," and then Twitter was like, deleting these, and deleted those. And then Trump made I can't think of the specific tweet he made where it really threw him off. Do you remember?
No, I can't. I try not to check his Twitter. I try not to give him
you didn't want to give him the eyeballs.
Oh my God.
Some of his stuff is legitimately funny. Like comedian level funny, like ridiculous. So it's hilarious. Like I don't know. I think that Trump could have been. I think that's why he's famous, because he's got this over the top ridiculous personality. Yeah. He doesn't care about basically anything. So because he's been rich his entire life, so he just says whatever comes to his mind. There's no filter, and that makes him really funny. Not unfortunately,
he thinks he's funny. He doesn't think he's funny, but it's funny.
Yeah. And so, sometimes he is making jokes, and I think that people will take that literally sometimes. And you're like, no, this is something that you would say to a friend jokingly, but he also happens to be the leader of the free world. But he said something about the rioters where it was definitely taken. There were already posts on Facebook. It was taken as encouragement. So Twitter said, well, you know what? After that, you're done for 2 weeks. Until you're out of office, you can't post on Twitter anymore.
Representative Mo Brooks was right before Trump in the speeches. And Mo Brooks didn't do him any favor either, because he was saying, let's kick some ass, essentially. Let's get him right now. He was riling the crowd. And then the president said what he said. And he may not have said, hey, let's storm the Capitol. But if you read the room and you look at the entire picture, you can see that that's what he was doing. For the impeachment that's happened, you don't have to have an actual law broken to impeach and remove a president. Right. You don't have to come to a true federal crime level. It can be, you incited a riot.
Can happen for whatever reason the House deems.
Right.
We talked about that the first time that he got impeached, because I think that the overall consensus on the show was that we didn't really agree with the consensus of impeaching him the first time.
They were stretching it pretty darn hard.
We didn't think it was worth impeachment or removal.
Right.
But so we talked about that on that episode. But back to all this. After Twitter deleted him or suspended him for the 2 weeks, it was actually Facebook that banned him for good first. They said, no, you're done for forever, Trump. And then all of a sudden, it was a domino.
Yeah, Silicon Valley. They all of the decision makers called each other. And
even TikTok.
Everybody did it. He's probably banned off LinkedIn. I don't know. They're all.
Is he banned off of Pinterest?
I saw even Spotify said he can't have his account
there was
anymore.
a list of all the places that banned him, and it was
Spangle banned him on We're Libertarians too.
Yeah.
He was hoping to get a headline.
Well, then I saw a fun thing.
That's what it turns into
with Twitter, where he then kept going to backup accounts. Like then he went to the POTUS account, shut that one down. Then he went to like his campaign account, they shut that down. Then he went to like a campaign manager's account, they shut that down.
He was truly behaving as an addict, Zach.
Yeah, I like that
he was in withdrawal.
We are all very familiar with the behavior of an addicted public servant, a public official who's addicted to social media. We know that well in Henry County.
We've been training for this.
Yeah.
We are conditioned to see the signs, and we knew. It was very predictable.
Just looking for that backup account that's tweeting just random stuff that you're just like, what is this about? Yeah, it was. I saw a thing that said, imagine him now watching the news about the impeachment. He gets mad. He picks his phone up and realizes it's useless and just throws it down.
Now it's just Creed's blog where he just writes it in a word processor. That's all he can do.
He did, before Twitter suspended the POTUS account, he did put on there that they were going to be big things coming very soon, that he was creating his own damn Twitter.
Well, he's going to have his own damn server farm, too, because I'm guessing AWS isn't going to play.
Yeah.
He's a billionaire. That's no problem.
Maybe.
He's got enough room in the Trump Tower basement.
Maybe he is.
Make that happen.
So here's the thing. Trump actually, on Wednesday night, had a good apology. He read the teleprompter, and he gave a very reasonable, heartfelt, I'm sorry speech. Unfortunately, it was his third attempt at an I'm sorry speech. He took 3 cracks at the apple before he got it right, and it took a week and an impeachment for him to do it. The guy's his first reaction is never the right thing. And that's what's been his failure throughout the entire presidency.
Like, look at the first debate. We all watched the first debate, and it was a mess. It was 2 monkeys flinging poo at each other, and one of the monkeys could barely talk. And that was the whole thing. And one of the monkeys could barely talk, and then the other monkey was just shouting over the monkey that couldn't talk. And it was a moment of complete and total despair for the entire nation, going, one of these 2 people is going to be president. But then the second debate came along, and it was like, where's this Trump been the whole time? He was like, he did very well. He was a good orator. He was really, really quick on his feet.
And that's why he won in a landslide. He won Georgia in a landslide.
500,000.
He was good in the second debate, but I'm just agreeing with you, saying that it took the first absolute abysmal failure for his team, the people that he trusts, saying, you got to change. You need to actually listen to us. Do what we tell you to do, because we know what is actually best, because those are people that are professionals. They've been doing it for many years.
If you want to hear the core of Donald Trump and what he is or where he's coming from, you can listen to the Secretary of State's conversation where his team of folks got the Georgia Secretary of State on the phone, and they were talking about, I need 13,500 votes or whatever the number is. And Donald Trump, 11,000, whatever the number is, he said, Brad, I just need 11,000 votes. That's all I need. Why can't you get them for me? That's all I need. He acted like he was negotiating a $15,000 item off of a bill. And they got $300 million contract, and we're only $15,000 apart. Why the hell won't you give on this, Dakota? Ignoring the fact that it's the peaceful transition of power that he's negotiating away.
Right. And
he doesn't do it.
That's been Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been that guy for the past over 50 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was. He was in CEO mode. He wasn't in presidential mode, and he doesn't understand.
I don't know why anyone would have expected it to all of a sudden change. That's who he's been.
But when the rubber met the road, he still wasn't. To me, the reason why the impeachment makes sense and why it's appropriate is because the absolute core piece of America is every 4 years, no matter what war it is, no matter how good or bad the economy is, we take the torch and we pass it to the next guy. Whether it's because your term is up or it's because that guy beat you, we peacefully transition the government over. And he was keeping that from happening. First time that's ever happened where an existing sitting president has said, I'm not doing this. And then not only did he not do it, but then he incited a mob to force that in.
We have had objections in the past, but once the debates settled, like they've been handled
peacefully, and
Congress members that have approached the floor, made objections to certain states' ballot counts, and then there was the debate process that is meant to be followed. But the difference is that after that debate process happened, the conversation was finished. This time, the debate process didn't get to happen because you had a president that told people that he was going to lead them to storm the Capitol building.
He gaslit them for 3 months, getting ready. Since it happened, he's been claiming victory, and then he charged them up and sent them in. It's surreal, and it's not an extreme position to say that it was treasonous. Like it was sedition. You were interfering with the very basic tenets of America. And I've had so many people that have been angry at me this week for saying that. I've had more hate mail, more hateful comments, more pushback than I ever get on this show in the last 7 days. And I shake my head because there's just a group of angry old boomers that are just can't take it anymore. And they're pissed.
And
I don't know why.
I mentioned it last week. So if they're then what next? Like what's left for America if they were successful? Like because you just rendered an election moot. You just took everybody's votes. Even
that was what Ben Shapiro said on his episode the day after, or on January 7th. He said, "Listen, like, how would you have felt if in January of 2017, Joe Biden stood in front of the Senate and said, Donald Trump is not president, Hillary Clinton is president, because I don't agree with these election results.
This is BS.
That is what they were counting on happening. Now, you can make the argument, and it can be sound, that there can be an audit of the election system, because we all know that there's fraud. There's been fraud for decades. Whether it's enough to sway a presidential election, we don't know. It's just the fact that, like what Jesse Riddle said last week, there's human involved, there's going to be mistakes. So you can say, we need to have an investigation and then meet with governors and say, how can we fix these mistakes that are happening in your states? That's all appropriate argument.
The states make the decision, right? So we don't have a federal government that's top down. We don't get to say from the federal level, we don't like what you did, start over. I don't know why we focus so damn much on Georgia, because he would have needed about 4 to 5 states to actually make the math work. Mm-hmm. But the conversation keeps going back to his damn near bribery in Georgia, or his abuse of Georgia.
Georgia was the most shocking.
Right. Well, they were replaying videos in the special election in Georgia of these ballots that they said were stolen, and they selectively just took it looked like there were suitcases, quote unquote, suitcases of ballots that they were unsealing. But then the Secretary of State in Georgia at this voting location, they said, look, here's the whole hour tape. It's, hey, we're going to stop counting for the night. So you can see them double padlocking this box, putting it under a table. And then when they get ordered back in, because we're going to keep counting, then they pull the box back out and pull the ballots back out to start counting them again. So they've been secure. It's entirely on video. But Giuliani and the Trump team said, no, it's nefarious. Look, they just found these ballots.
I saw part of his press conference. He was methodical and point by point saying, this is what's being claimed. Here's how it's not true.
Right.
And this is what we've done to keep that from being the case. And he even mentioned other states and was like, this isn't possible in that state. Like, he's complaining about anomalies. He wants to create anomalies because he said in this county they threw out like 70,000 of my votes. He's like, but if you add those 70,000 on there, then that county now is at 140% voter participation. He's like, that's an anomaly, but it's not where it is now. So yeah, it was so bizarre. Just and all the people that seriously believed like, well, no, it's all been taken. And
there have been reports this week that that I guess Jared Kushner finally is the one that forced the president to read the Wednesday night speech that said, "Hey, I'm sorry, and I mean it." And then since then, they've not been allowing Giuliani to call him. He's basically been banned from speaking to Rudy Giuliani.
Or he's not getting paid either. That's a common thing for Trump, but he's trying not to pay him.
So we had an impeachment yesterday. 10 Republicans voted for it. It's the most members of the opposite party to ever vote in an impeachment in the country's history. There have been 4 now. I've lived through 3 of them, Dakota. I've lived through 3 impeachments. I think you have as well, actually. Congratulations, fist bump. You've lived through 3 of the 4 impeachments in the history of the world.
Yes, I have.
You have, yeah.
Yeah,
that was like 98, 99.
That was a big trivia question in my youth was like, who are the 2 presidents that have been impeached? And like, because people were so...
It was Andrew Johnson.
And Bill Clinton. And Bill Clinton was such like a foggy thing that you just didn't... People, like, I think it was so unheard of.
See, and Trump's first impeachment would have been that way. You never would have remembered
it was kind of...
in 20 years, you'd be like,
wait,
wasn't Donald Trump impeached? Like,
Nancy Pelosi has presided over 2 of the 4 impeachments in the history of this country.
She wore the same
She's got
outfit.
half of them.
She wore the same outfit to both of them, too.
She only got the one haircut there during
petty.
the pandemic. That's the only one she's had since it started, too.
So she's petty and a hypocrite.
Some interesting people that did vote yes. I noted of the 4, Fred Upton of Michigan voted yes. You'll know Fred Upton from his niece Kate Upton, the supermodel, who also is married to Justin Verlander. And there were some photographs of the 2 of them that are on the internet if you need to check on them. Liz Cheney, the daughter of the former Vice President Dick Cheney. She voted for the impeachment. She's the number 3 Republican in the House. Anthony,
that's not really. I mean, Dick Cheney is like the swampiest of the swamp.
I'm saying, well, this is his daughter. She's her own person. She's the representative from Wyoming, but she's the number 3 Republican in the House of Representatives. That's a significant position.
Yeah, it's not just some.
It's not just some random backbencher. But speaking of random backbenchers, Indiana's own, he's actually an Ohio congressman now, but Indianapolis Colts wide receiver, Anthony Gonzalez, Ohio State University. He got elected to Congress 3 terms ago. He voted for the impeachment. And then, there's a guy named Meyer. You're familiar with the Meyer supermarkets, Meyer superstores?
Yep.
Freshman Congressman Meyer replaced Justin Amash. He voted for it too.
Huh.
So
interesting.
He's all in, and he's younger than us, Zach. He's like 33.
He's got Meyer grocery store money.
Yeah. He did okay.
Thomas Massey did not.
Thomas Massey voted for it, and that's something I talked with Nick Sarwark a little bit. I just ripped Dakota's ears right out of his head. I talked to former LP chairman Sarwark about Massey and kind of asking him this week why has Massey got such a hard on against Liberty? Why is he so strong over there? He's like, he's fully sold out for Trump. And I'm like, that's nuts.
I don't think he's
because
he said his reasoning was that if we want to heal the divide in our country, then let Trump ride out his last week.
Massey
and just don't mess with it.
Massey got primaried by the guy whose logo was Trump's hair.
Yeah,
like it literally. Like I don't. You can't get any more targeted by Trump than the guy that he handpicked and ran against you and used Trump's hair as his damn logo.
I see what he was saying though. If you truly if you want healing in the country,
we should just
between these 2 sides.
We should just heal even before.
Then just ignore him.
Even before we put the glass back in, we've dealt with it. You
can either say
5 people died.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying I see the argument.
So far,
I'm not saying that I necessarily agree with it.
Here's my thing. We're all about inoculations right now, right? That's what vaccines are the thing. By the way, if you're 70 and below or 70 and above, you can get in line for your vaccine on the Indiana website right now. 250,000 people signed up in the last day for vaccines in the state of Indiana. But we're all about inoculations. The best thing Congress can do right now is to inoculate us against Donald Trump running again in 4 years.
Exactly.
And that's what voting for the impeachment will do, is it takes it off the table and we can move on. If you want to heal, then cut out the damn cancer and move on.
Because I even heard that they might not even they don't have to do the trial before he's out of office. They can do it after. Like some part of it can happen after the inauguration.
The impeachment is complete. Now, the actual trial theoretically can happen and has happened in the past. There's a precedent in a cabinet member that has been impeached and removed after he was already out of office. And there's 2 steps to an impeachment removal. You can remove somebody from office, but you can also say, hey, they can never serve again. They can never benefit from the office. So you can say you don't get any of your status as a former president. You don't get your pension. You don't get any of that, and you can be disqualified from future office. I don't give a damn if he makes money or not. I want to take it off the table that he can hold it over people for 4 years, that he's going to try to come back.
Yeah, the disqualification would be the nicest thing. It's just to say, okay, this era is done. We can move on.
I made a prediction weeks ago, maybe a couple months, I don't know, that Trump would run again in 2024. And I can't remember if I said he was going to win or not, the Republican nomination. I think I thought he was going to win the Republican nomination in 24. I definitely do not think that is the case.
I don't think he would have won the nomination again, but I think, and I said it last week, I think it's down from him having 45% of the country or 40% of the country to 15. I think he marginalized a group massively. And what's going to happen, or what can happen, is if you get him out of the picture, that 15% is still going to be there, but they're going to splinter, they're going to fragment, and they're going to be a mess. They're not going to be able to coalesce around anybody, and they're going to fizzle out and fail.
I think it's more than 15%.
I think it's the old white boomers,
we're talking like, no.
It's hard to tell.
We have a lot of people our age that are. I mean, our good friend Brad Brewer, he's still riding the Trump train. It's not just old white people.
It's the majority of it. Plus, Brad's over 30.
Yeah. I think that it's more people than what you think if you think it's only 15%.
There's times I've been surprised at people like in my Facebook feed who don't post a lot about politics, but they'll post every once in a while. I'm like, and they're my age, and they're big pro-Trump people.
Trump, I think that one of the big things that hurt him was before the election even happened, he was saying that they're trying to steal this from me.
Yeah, he
kept saying, like in October, September, they're trying to steal this from you. They're trying to steal my presidency away from you, the voter, America. And I think that kept a lot of his people home.
He said the only way he could lose was if they cheated.
Why would you?
Yeah.
Why vote for him if they're going to cheat and steal anyway?
I think that's what
right. That's kind of what he's saying.
I'm not sure if it was the Secretary of State, but that was what somebody in Georgia said. They said he lost it here because he told him he wouldn't. He told him that the mail-in votes aren't. You can't trust them. He said, and then they stayed home. He's like, he should have won here, but he.
All right. So then you have a lot of people
just stayed home.
Who are in Jeremiah's idea of his base that are just old people who they're not going to mail in their vote because they don't trust it at all. But they also have worries about coronavirus, so they're not going to get out. I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced that Trump didn't shoot himself in the foot, and that if he hadn't done all this, then he still would have lost. I don't know if that's really happened.
There's a survey from Ipsos that was conducted January 8th through January 12th of the current year. It shows that Trump's approval rating in their survey is 34%, disapproval 61%. There's a Rasmussen that is given a C+ grade. It's on the 538 website, is much less trustworthy according to these guys. A sample of 1,500 people, and they're showing the best case scenario for him is a 46% approval, 53% disapproval. You can say he's lost the country for sure.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
35% still shocking after last week.
Yeah, amongst Republicans, according to Morning Consult. this is, I don't know, the date on this is difficult. January 7th is showing 78% of Republicans still supporting. And nationally, among all voters, it was down to 39%. Yeah, it's low. It's historically low. And I truly think that if you were given a field, this is my 15%. I think if you're given a field of Republicans that are actually running for president,
yeah, they would.
In 2024, they're going to scatter. They're going to go somewhere else. And I think the Trump number is in the 10, 12, 15% range at most. They're going to have other options. They're going to have better options.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But give the country the gift and vote no on the impeachment. Todd Young, Mike Braun, come on. Please. Just be done with it.
One of them, maybe. I don't know about the other one.
Yeah, I think Todd Young is much more likely to vote. So that's the other side of it. If you're looking at the plausibility, you have to have 66, 67 senators vote to remove. Assuming you have 50 Democrats at the time they have the trial, then you need to get yourself to about 17. Mitt Romney voted for the removal last time, next to 51. Mitch McConnell, the leader of the Republicans, has already kind of but whispered that he was in favor. You look at Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins; those two have been some of the most independent.
I think that establishment GOP
you start
members
to get where you need like 10 or 12 votes, and if McConnell is going that way,
he could bring some people.
I think that they're mad at Trump because of the pretty much irreparable damage that they've done to the reputation of the party.
He has burnt it to the ground.
Yeah,
unless you're in Henry County, Indiana,
unless you're
good luck running and winning with an R by your name.
Unless you're a hardline Republican, then your view of the GOP has gone down the toilet. Even if you're a hardcore Trump supporter. So if you are a hardcore Trump supporter within the GOP, then your view of the establishment GOP has also gone down the toilet.
Money matters to these guys a lot. Fundraising matters a tremendous amount to them keeping their jobs. Eli Lilly has said we're stopping anybody that supported this essential coup last week. They're going to stop their PAC's going to stop giving money. Walmart says they're going to discontinue their money. All the money spigot is getting cut off, and these guys want their money. So I think they're going to be pressured enough to say, you know what, we're done. It's over. We've got to make a clean break for their own survival and their self-preservation. Mitch McConnell tied himself to this president because he wanted to remake the judiciary. He wanted those Supreme Court justices because that's a part of McConnell's legacy. Trump can no longer help him. He has no interest in continuing on.
That was something that Dr. Carl Hart said was like, Mitch McConnell has got what he wanted from Trump, and he is done. It doesn't matter.
Said this week, I don't think we're ever going to talk again.
Yeah.
His wife quit the cabinet. McConnell's wife was in charge of infrastructure in the country. Elaine Chao is married to Mitch McConnell. She quit.
Jeremiah, I'm getting hungry.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's probably about Patreon time. So we need to do final thoughts. And then if you want to see what's about ready to go down, patreon.com/Boss Hog of Liberty.
There's a Pizza King box. It's going to take me about 5 minutes to get the live stream loaded on the Patreon side. So you got 5 minutes to get...
I'm going to send Zach over to the other spot for a second.
To sign up on patreon.com/Boss Hog of Liberty. At any level, $5 a month, you'll get access to this. But there's a interesting pizza at one of the Pizza Kings in Newcastle, Indiana. Pickle pizza with ranch dressing as the sauce. We're going to try it.
Oh, it sounds incredibly Hoosier.
We're going to talk about it.
It sounds incredibly Hoosier.
I forgot to bring my sriracha sauce, my cock sauce. So that's disappointing. But I think that it's going to be good. I have high hopes. It looks delicious.
I will text Mrs. Sarah Morrell and tell her to come over now and bring sriracha. We'll see if it happens. I've sent the command.
I like that.
We'll see if it happens. Thank you all so much. No final thoughts this week. You've heard enough from us.
Yeah.
We'll see you next Thursday night.
Thank you for listening to the Boss Hog of Liberty, which is part of the We Are Libertarians network. I am Chris Spangle, and I am the founder of this network, and I invite you to listen to all of our shows, which you can find at wearelibertarians.com or by searching for these in your podcatcher. The flagship show is the We Are Libertarians podcast, where we apply libertarian principles to current events. The Brian Nichols Show is a conversation amongst Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, as they talk about what is happening in the news. And we have many other podcasts like The Chris Spangle Show, Upward, The Cost, Raw Audio Politics, Miranda's World, and Tad Talk. which is quite a ride. So check all of these out. Go to wearelibertarians.com, and you can check out all of our great podcasts. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at wearelibertarians.com.